Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to a brand new video. Yeah. Today's video is gonna be a story time. I'm probably gonna need a glass of wine. Yep. Woolies better pay me for all this PR I'm giving them. So we're going to talk about my helper from hell. Beginning of this year, well, last year I told you guys how I moved my daughter here, and I was just like, I'm not coping, I need a helper. So I had like 2-3 helpers last year. No, actually 3. And then the one young Mtanda just up and left. And then I got another one. She was just not the one. Like, why would you do that? Why would you put a dishcloth that is wet in the drawer? Like, some of Langa's clothes were not dry, but she would fold them and put them in the cupboards. Like, I was suffering. But ngabegazela until the end of last year, and then I got rid of her. And then then last year I was like, okay, I want to move to like a 3-bedroom because we were in a two bedroom. So we moved into a 3-bedroom. Oh, we look guys. We moved into a 3-bedroom because I wanted to stay in helper, right? Because I had a lot of plans for this year, like traveling and all of that, and I was gonna need like help, like a lot of help, like constant help. So it's like, okay. And then so when I was still thinking about this last year, I spoke to a friend of mine who was like, no, I know someone, yeah, she's great, she also helps me, I think, in Hlanganese. I was like, yay, great, I was excited. And then yeah, everything seemed like it was working out for me. I found a place, which is a place I'm staying at now. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and it's affordable and it's close to work. Like, everything was just coming together, and I was like, yay. And then I moved here. On the day I moved here, it was just drama and chaos, but that's a story for another day. Fine, I left my things here and I went back home. Closer to us coming back here, I spoke to the lady. Like, we agreed on salary, we agreed on the terms. It wasn't even like that deep, but she had a general idea of what was going to happen here, and we had agreed on a salary for the first 3 months, and then after the first 3 months I was going to increase it because I was still going through like financial situations because of the drama that happened when I was moving here. So cool. Okay, comes the day we have to move here. Everything goes well. I pick her up. We basically move back to Witbank, and she comes to stay with us, right? And I was very confident about her, like, and I didn't even feel the need to like do a proper like deep interview and all of that stuff, which is a big mistake on my part. And I've never had to interview like helpers. Even the ones I've had before, I didn't interview them. It was just like, when can you start? How much do you want me to pay you? Great, that's it. Cool. So then we move here, and then yeah, the first month, which was January, like I said, I was going through a rough patch. Oh, I think you're going to TV because Ukes just came back. Also, I'm sorry if you can hear Umsindo from my neighbors. He's blasting a radio like very loudly. So cool. We move here first month, January. Oh, the first day we got here, right? Like, everything was a mess because I just literally took Izinduzam from my last place and dumped them here, and then I had to drive back home. So it was a mess, right? But when we got here, like, she just took initiative, like nje put everything in its place, like walungisa my room, and I was sick that day and exhausted from driving. Like I had flu and I was exhausted from driving. So I really, really appreciated Uba Nomuntu, who's just gonna like help me out, just like kanjalo nje, take initiative and stuff. So I was like, okay, this is gonna be great then. Like this is great, you know. I slept in Petenwami, like everything was made, like didn't get to be right. I left for work the next day, came back, like she had tidied practically everything was just done, right? Except for the couch, which needed to be assembled, and other little things, but everything was done. I'm like, okay, this is great. Having a stay-in helper is great. I get the next few days, everything goes well, but I could feel a more in Ramgus. I'm not used to having someone around. Like I'm not used to having sorry, let me close the door. Right, like I'm not used to having umuntu around, because before I even moved my daughter here, I was staying alone. Like I've never had to stay with anybody, so it was just a big like adjustment for me. So even though I was feeling those feelings, I was also like, okay, it's gonna take a while for me to warm up to the idea that ngihlala nomuntu who's an adult who does things her own way, and she's constantly here. I think that was my biggest thing. She's constantly around. Like, wow. So I was like, okay, relax, you know, you'll get used to it. I think in like the second or third week, yes, things started happening, and I was just like, okay, I was just like, okay, give her a chance, give this a chance. You're probably uncomfortable because when umuntu in your house or in your space, and just give it a chance, right? The first thing that happened was, okay, the first Kitsin, I don't want to say red flag, but the first ding that happened was when we were driving here in January, right? So we were talking in the car, and she's asking me who's in Sondapi, and I'm like, no, I'm a born again Christian in Sondalana la, but I haven't been to church in a while, right? And then she's like, yena ungum, I think postol or whatever, I can't remember exactly, but it's so different from my like from Mukwenza. It's so different from Mukwenza. Of course, it's Kolelo uNkulunkulu yedwa, but senza ngendlela ehlukile, right? And then I kept asking, because I wasn't fully aware of what was happening. So I kept asking, like, okay, what does this mean? What does this mean? And she kept telling me, and then she told me, no more, yeah. And I was like, whoa, okay. But even then, I was like, okay, this doesn't mean anything, right? Like, we're just different in that sense. Like, it shouldn't be a problem. And really it wasn't. But in the second or third week, I got a call when I was not even a call, she sent me like a voice note when I was at work. She's like, hi, and there was a very specific way she would ask for things that still like annoys me. It's like, hi, can you please buy me candles and milk and tea? And I think that those are the three things. And the tea was very specific, and the candles were very specific. I'll reimburse you when my mother sends me money. I really need these things because I want to start prayer. Dun. I'm like, okay. Like, I don't know, but I'm the sort of person that I'm very gullible, and I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. Like at first, I could sense what's asula, right? Because this is okay, granted, but this is still my home and my house, right? And my space. So I feel like if you're gonna do anything, right, if you're gonna do anything in this space, you need to consult with me first, right? And then we need to find a way that will not pazamisa either one of us, right? So for me, getting a message on a Saturday asking for candles and tea and all of that stuff. And she knew very well because I was broke. It was January, I was broke. She knew very well. And for you to ask me that, and like I said, there was a way that she used to ask for things, right? It was an emergency every time, and it had to be done, and you just had to feel sorry for her. And being the person that I am, I would always like put that feeling of discomfort aside and think, okay, I need to help her. She really needs the help, you know. And the perfect way to describe indlela ayicela ngayo izinto was, it was very manipulative, right? It was very emotionally manipulative. And being the person that I am, I'm easily manipulated. I know that now, and I'm trying to change that. It's not easy, but you know. So now I had to go to my pockets and see ukuthi lo muntu accommodate kanjani in the little money that I have, you know, because I'm just like, okay. And I knew ukuthi izinto, the noise. I don't know if you've noticed, but my neighbors are really loud. Anyway, so okay, fine. This is so I bought the candles and the other stuff, right? And I was like, okay, whatever she needs to do to feel comfortable and okay, I will do it. I bring it back. And then like, what exactly is this for? Because she didn't even get into detail as to what was happening. I'm like, what exactly is it for? And she explains. I won't even go into detail because I didn't even fully understand at the time. And I'm just like, okay, I was uncomfortable. I won't lie. But what made me okay a bit is that she did come back and say, I'm sorry, I didn't ask for permission or didn't consult with you first about this, but yeah. So I was like, okay, at least we are going to so we can move forward, right? And then my only request was that when she does these things, she doesn't do it in front of us or my daughter, right? Because I don't know exactly what she's doing, but I also wanted her to feel comfortable, right? Don't judge me. This is January. February, end of January, I pay her, right? I pay her. And then, around that time, she tells me that her brother is going to get married in February. And And she's stressed about money and all of that stuff. And I was just like, hey, sis, you're not the only one. And at the time, I just started going through maintenance court. So I was like, hey, as in, I'm just going in because I don't even have the money, right? I don't have the money. So she keeps bringing Linda Bayemali up, and I'm just like, oh, Lord. Anyway, time goes by, like things are okay. Like she's great at umsebenzi wakho wasendlini. And I'm very much appreciative of the fact that I come back home and there's a home cooked meal for my daughter and I, like clean. I don't have to worry about that. And on weekends, I can just leave Ulang and go to work in peace. Like I don't have to wake her up early in the morning, take her to some daycare or somebody's house. You know, like I was very appreciative of those things. And even though there were little things here and there, I always appreciated logogunye more. So, you know. But I won't lie, even through that time, I was so uncomfortable with a lot of things. Like, even the way that she spoke, I was just like, the best way to describe it was that being cinder, I really had like long interactions with her, even though Sahlala for 3 months together, because she was weighing heavily on me, and I don't know what that is or what it was, but being cinder, that's the only way I could explain it, right? So the second thing that happened was just before umshado wabhutwakhe, right? I get a message at work. I come back one day from work, right? And I find her in like a sour mood. I'm like, are you okay? She's like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm just stressed about money. I'm like, oh, okay, join the club, you know. Aren't we all? How? And then the next day, get to work, I get a message, a long voice note. She's crying. Hi, can you please borrow me 5,000 rands? I need to buy my children and I clothes for my brother's wedding. crying, like hysterically crying, like crying. I need the money. She's like, yeah, I need the money. I want to look beautiful at my brother's wedding. I want to do my hair. I want to buy my children clothes. But I'm like, 5K. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5,000 rands. And when it's at that very moment that I knew was, no, there is something not very much okay with this whole situation and with this very person. Like 5,000 rands, guys. There's no way. Even if, right? And I mean, I'm a very understanding person. I understand, I know don't at that. Like, I understand young kingdom cabin, but I there is no way unga doing 5,000 rand for a 2-day wedding. 2 days. When like no. I took long to even respond to that message because I couldn't even like understand the audacity to ask me for 5K. Like, where do you get it from? Hey, Batu. She asked me, I'm like, yes, the voice note is long. Like, it was long, and it was just very dramatic. We are kalashi. Hey, guys. And then, okay, even worse, like, there were other voice notes after that. She's like, no. Oh, because I remember after that I sent a message. I was like, I don't have 5K. Like, oh, I think the wedding was at the end of Feb or something. It's like, I don't have that type of money, right? The least I can do for you is give you Mholo Akwa February, right? Even then, it's not going to be full pay because you're going away. But I will give you close to the full amount, you know? And that's all I can do for you. You have to make do with this amount. Hey, she's like, oh, thank you. What? I'm like, yes, sis. Right, this is March, right? Oh, this is February. Hi again. Oh yeah, it was end of February, I remember. End of February, she goes home, and then she comes. Oh, she left midweek, I think Wednesday or Thursday. She was supposed to come back on a Sunday or Monday, if I'm not mistaken. She comes back on a Wednesday, and that week we're supposed to go home also because my sister had a traditional wedding, if I'm not mistaken. She was supposed to come, on Monday, and then on Thursday we're supposed to go back home. She doesn't come back on Monday. Tuesday, I asked her, Auntie, when are you coming back? She's like, no, I'm so sorry. Only then, she's like, no, I'm so sorry. There's a lot to do here at home. I just couldn't leave because I'm the only girl. And even then I understand the rubbish. I was like, okay, cool, but you must come back, right? You must come back because I need you. She comes back on a Wednesday, and we're leaving when? No, we left on a Friday. So she comes back on a Wednesday. Or before she comes back, she's like, I'm gonna come back tomorrow, but I'm not gonna go back to Newcastle with you. I'm gonna stay here. I'm like, hey. I was like, no, that's not happening. We are all going to Newcastle. I'm not gonna leave you here, right? I'm not gonna leave you here. And then she's like, no, but I'm tired. I don't want to go back home. I was like, I didn't get there when you're supposed to come back on a Monday. I'm not going to leave you here. Okay, then we drive back home on a Friday. Cool. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I think we came back on a Monday, if I'm not mistaken, yeah. Cool, everything is fine, cool beans. And then in the midst of all of that, when a boyfriend somewhere here in Mpumalanga, right? I think a boyfriend is actually Emil, right? So that's an hour and some change away. So she keeps hinting who's a boyfriend that cares to see her, and I'm like, And ngiyayibona le conversation ukuthi it's going to a place where ngathi boyfriend like izombonela la in this house. So I asked her, I was like, okay, so when your boyfriend comes, are you going to go to the mall? Like, I'm not trying to be direct, so I'm like, are you going to go to the mall? She's like, she laughs and she's like, no, uthagana mali in so we can't really go to the mall. So I'm like, so I was right. You were planning on meeting your boyfriend in this particular house, in this specific house. Like, I was like, yo, but mudimu, like, get one. And I'm not very confrontational, you know? Like, I'm not very confrontational. So even when I realized that, I couldn't outright say no. So it's just like, I get, but he needs to take you out. Like, you can't not see someone in a long time and then you see each other and you just, he needs to take you out, he needs to make a plan. But the boyfriend never came, so that was never an issue. But the fact that she considered, or she had made a decision in this house, beyond me, right? Excuse me. And then last number was that end of March. It was month end, I remember very well. December mall, right? I'm doing our grocery shopping. Like, I've adjusted even to the fact that I have to shop for 2 adults and 1 kid. Like, I've made adjustments even to my attitude and my point of view. But at that point also I knew very well I wasn't gonna keep her for long because things were starting to get really weird. Sorry, that was Langa's friend coming to report because Ulanga is not sharing. Kids are funny. Anyway, so where was I? Damn, where was I? Yes, I was at the mall doing grocery shopping and adjusted to shopping for 2 adults and 1 kid. Even though I knew Guti, sooner or later I was going to get rid of her because it was getting too much for me. Like, they were still cool. And even like the things I don't ngiyazbuka and then ngiyadlulisa because I just feel like the well-being of umntanam was far more important than us having a back and forth. So there were things I never actually voiced out and I was just like, okay, it's fine, I'll live with it. But there were things I was not willing to let go. Like, there was a point where Ulang wasn't going to school and she would literally stay in her room until I would leave. And Ulanga wakes up early, especially when she's not going to school. So I would literally walk out the house and Umtana would be left alone in the lounge. And it's like 7:45 at the time, and I don't understand why are you still in your room at that time, right? So those things I couldn't let go because Nyama's Ulanga, she's very quick with her hands. Uyaganga. Right, so I was just like, so I confronted those things and I never got any response. So there were things that were just happening and I was just like, we're not gonna last very long, right? Okay, so like I said, last number, I'm at the mall. I get a voice note. She's like, oh no, I need to go home now. It's urgent. It's like 3:00 on a Saturday. I need to go home now. It's urgent. Can you please find out for me who someone takes I in Newcastle by his cards or whatever? And I'm just like, okay, even then, like, you know, the situations where you're like, this is bullshit, but am I the only one now? But I take that discomfort and all of that to the side, and I try and think of the person. Like, I try and be understanding of the situation. I'm like, okay, it's an emergency, like she said, so she needs to go home, you know. So I'm like, okay, so now I'm rushing myself, trying to find out who someone takes a pill on ban. But I found out by 3:00 really, that's the last taxi to Newcastle. So I call her back. I'm like, sorry, I only got your message now. I think she sent it like 30 minutes before I read it or listened to it. I'm like, I only got your message now, but I'm at text but so you can only go home tomorrow morning. She's like, oh, okay, shop. So I continue my shopping, but nakona saying Rasha because I'm thinking she probably wants to knock off and think about this emergency or whatever. So I'm rushing back home. I get back home. I'm trying to understand the situation. Like, I don't know what the emergency is. So I'm rushing back home, right? Saying for not understand what is the emergency and is she okay? Like, is everything okay? I ask her, I'm like, what's wrong? She's like, she's not quite sure, but her mother called her. She's like, it's an emergency. She needs to get back home ASAP. I'm like, oh, okay. But you can still go home tomorrow morning. Like, first thing tomorrow morning, you can still go home, right? She's like, yeah. But her mother keeps calling and her mother wants to come back home now because it's a big deal and it needs to be addressed now. I'm like, but there are no taxis now. And it was already like 4:30. There are no taxis now, like, and it's not safe. She was being very dramatic and she was kept answering calls. Now that I think about it, her phone never rang, but she was answering calls. Hi, talking to people, like, it sounded very serious. I was even like, I felt guilty at some point. I was like, okay, I'm holding her hostage here, you know, like she wants to go home and there's a big emergency and I'm holding her hostage here. And I'm just like, you're okay, this is quite tense. Eventually, okay, we find out what the big emergency is. Apparently her boyfriend that never came to see her in the 3 months that she was here sent a letter asking for a hand in marriage. And her family, they needed to have an emergency family meeting for that. So she needed to be home ASAP. I'm like, how? That is weird. So I'm like, okay, have you ever had a discussion about this with your boyfriend? Because it sounds like it's something that just happened out of the blue. Even you and I have never had that conversation before. So what is the story? She's like, no, she's also confused. But he did mention something like this in the past couple of days, but she didn't think he was serious because he's never kept his word. I was like, exactly. He's never kept a single word, a single promise that he has made in the time that you've been here. And mind you, ML and Woodbank are very close to each other. So he could have and should have come to see you in that time that you've been here, but he's never. And all of a sudden, like, even like, I was confused, but angazi, because I'm gullible, like I said, I never thought because honestly, if you think about it, that's just a manga to the highest degree. I'm like, oh, okay, so we're having this conversation, and it's a deep conversation, guys. Like, I'm advising her on like not to say no to the proposal because she's mad that he did this behind her back. Like, hey, I'm like, no, don't turn it down. Just talk to him, you know. Also, I'm like, okay, this person, why didn't he come take you here and then drive with you to Newcastle? He didn't have to tell you his plans, but why Sheila? You know? But at the time, like, they would create such a big ass lie. Like, I never thought, like, at the back of my mind, I was like, okay, this is quite weird. But I never thought, you know? Like, I never thought. So, okay, fine. Hey, guys, but it was very dramatic. Like, and I'm shyly zana, like, amangaki. I shined girl, like, we shined. So, right? Like I even called my partner at the time. I was like, okay, we need to take her to a ranking. You know, it was just a big thing. And another thing, and she was supposed to, this was a Sunday morning, she was supposed to come back on a Monday morning. It's not even an overnight bag, it was a luggage bag. But then she leaves, right? And I'm like, what? If you're going home. But anyway, it's fine. We drop her off at the rank, right? Okay. Ngimbuze-ke ukuthi uhamba kanjani endleleni, ngiyithola yini itaxi, she doesn't respond. I'm like, okay, weird. Then a couple of hours later, she sends me a voice note. She's like, can I please send her 2,000 rand? The story time is taking longer than I thought because I keep getting interrupted. Anyway, so Gaeliga a few hours later sends me a voice note. She's like, hi. Very true to how she normally asks for things, like very manipulative. Can you please send me 2,000 rand? Mind you, I just paid her the day before because it was month end. Can you please send me 2,000 rand? I need to pay someone, then mina deposit her because I paid her cash. Deposit her when I get to Newcastle. I'm like, and guys, like I'm very gullible. I'm like, okay, I'm now 2,000 rand, but in 1,000 rand. She's like, no, I don't want 2,000 rand. From 2,000 rand, I'm like, I'm now 2,000 rand, you know. And then why loco? And then later on, she's like, please tell Ulanga I love her and I miss her. I'm like, this girl is very weird. Like she's she's very weird. But and also I would have gotten rid of her sooner. It's just that I wanted to get a new person before Ngimqosha because it's very hard to find help. I get go by local. Guys, Umuntu is coming back the next day. Nothing. Crickets. Not even sending like, hi, I'm on my way. Nothing. Hi, ngithule nam. Tuesday uzobuya. Tuesday, nothing. I send her a message. I'm like, hi, when are you coming back? We're on Blutik. I'm like, okay. This is new. Wednesday. Oh no. Wednesday I didn't send a message. Thursday no message. Friday no message. Oh yeah, Friday no message. Then Saturday, Saturday I remember we drove to Nelspruit. So I'm talking to a friend. I'm like, how? This is what's happening. Like I don't know. Like I'm starting to get worried. This person is not calling. They're not responding. Like what if something happened? And then they're like, yeah, maybe we should call her. I call her. It goes to voicemail. Then I'm like, then I call the friend. I'm like, hi, this was happening. She's like, hey, as a woman, but I'll try and see because she lives very close, like by their neighbors. I'm like, okay, maybe if you can find a number for me to call, right? And then she comes back to me with a number. I call the brother. The very same brother she was supposedly talking to just 7 days ago about Sindabugusi. They sent a letter to her house asking for a hand in marriage, right? Bear that in mind. I call the brother. I'm like, hi, I'm looking for Sisi. I haven't spoken to her in so long. She left here on Sunday saying she's coming back home. Now I'm worried. He's like, I personally last spoke to her in February. I'm like, how? So when the brother says all of that, then it only dawns on me, like these were all lies, right? Like, mama sisters just because she wanted to leave, and for what reason I do not know. So I'm like, how? Yeah, the brother's like, she didn't come back home. We last saw her in February. I personally last spoke to her in February. I'm like, what is, like, it drumming again? And my thing was, if you didn't want to work for me anymore, if you didn't want to stay here anymore, you should have just come to me and said, "Cha ngiyabonga, I wanna go rice." Like a drama, I wanna manga. That's my thing. Like, why? And then, guys, like, this is why I'm traumatized. I don't even wanna lie to you. Like, and I didn't even think like I deserved any of that. Like the layer trauma, I didn't deserve any of it. And imagine ngiyacabanga ukuthi uleya 2K wayefuna ukungiqola lo 2K, she's ngizomsendela lo 2,000 rand, and I'd never hear from her again. Like, guys, like, and the horrible part about all of this is that I felt so guilty for the longest time after that, because I thought maybe I ill-treated her, maybe she left because being a or the situation wasn't right, you know. I felt so bad for the longest time, because I'm like, ayekho umuntu ophila who would just leave like that, you know. And I was right. So this was April, right? May, whole of April, didn't hear anything from her. While looking I remember at some point between those few days, I even sent a message as like, "This is not the first time you do this and never say and never come back on time. The next time you do this, I'm gonna have to get rid of you because you're unreliable." Didn't even beg for a job, didn't even say sorry. And I was like, am I such a horrible boss that you would just leave like that? And like, am I such a horrible person? Anyway, so I dealt with those feelings for quite a while, like whole of April, whole of May, June. Oh, and then in April we were going back home again. So okay, I'm going home, so you need to come fetch right? So you need to come before Thursday because we're leaving on Thursday. If not, I'm gonna leave your things by our neighbors because they were besties, I think, at the time. I'm gonna leave your things there. When you get the time, that was Landa Con. She's like, oh, she just sent an okay. I'm like, wow. I'm like, okay, cool. I left the things there. I came back from my leave. She never came. She never came to fetch her things. So I was like, okay, because now I felt guilty. I was like, okay, I'll take the things back. You know, I'll take the things back to my house. It was always Tola corner. But at the time, I was so mad that I didn't even want to see her face. Like, I think I've known one. So it was really convenient for me that the clothes were there. Sisters, where I left the clothes was like, no, it's fine. I've spoken to her. She said she'll come. She never came. She only came back last month. Right? She only came back last month, like Nakona, towards the end of the month, like 2-3 weeks ago. So in that 2-3 weeks ago, logging go April, right? In that 2-3 weeks ago, she sends me a message. She's like, oh, on a random Sunday, she sends me a message on WhatsApp. She's like, a voice note. Hi, can you please call me? I wish I could play you that voice note. This is who and who. Can you please call me? There's serious things I want to talk to you about. The same attitude thing Engi Kulumangai was the same attitude I got on that voice note. There are very serious things I want to talk to you about. So when you get this call, please get back to me, but not on this number, on my number. First of all, I didn't even have her number at the time. Like, I deleted her number. I'm like, I was so mad that day. Like, I was fuming. I'm like, what? I sent my friends the voice note. I'm like, and we were all in agreement. I'm not doing this. I didn't call, I didn't respond, didn't say anything. The next day, which was a Monday, I get a voice note from one of my neighbors. I'm getting a voice note, it's her. Hi, it's me. I'm in Witbank. I was wondering if we could talk. I'm really sorry about how I left and how I left things. I'm really sorry for leaving like that. Like, I want to talk. Like, oh, and then she's like, if you still have a space for me in your home, if you still have space for me in your home, can you please take me back? Like, ngidinga umsebenzi. I was like, what in the hell? I probably listened to that voice note like 3 or 4 times because I needed to hear ukuthi I wasn't the problem. She was. She was the problem. I wasn't the problem. Because even at that time, I still felt bad. I ill-treated her. There was something I did. Kandi, it was all her. And no matter how many times I tried to rationalize it, even when my friends were telling me, it's not you, I didn't believe it. But only when she vindicated me with that voice note, it wasn't me. It really wasn't me. It was all her. But I'm skipping because there was a point, right? So I got another helper. Beginning of May, I got another helper, right? But wasn't staying in. I didn't want to stay in anymore. So she only came 3 times a week. So angazi kanjani, this helper ended up finding out for me. I don't know how, right? Or I do know how. I just don't want to go into detail. Finding out ukuthi sisters ebengihleba around here, this complex, and there's a tuck shop just down the road. Ebengihleba mina nomntanami around here. She didn't go into detail. I didn't want her to go into detail because I'm very sensitive. Because even the very few things that she told me made me very emotional. But the biggest thing was that I didn't pay her enough, and that I spoiled my child, and that I mean, she's a child. What is she supposed to do? What else? But and I was like, and the biggest thing was that she used to take my child to the tuck shop and gossip about me and my child there. Like, I think that was the biggest thing for me. Like, why did you have to do that? Why? And if you were so unhappy, why didn't you speak to me about it? Why didn't you come and say, I'm not happy, go 1, 2, 3. And it's so funny because we agreed on the salary, right? And I did tell her in 3 months' time. So I don't anyway, so that was before she came back, and it was like she's sorry, she wants to come back, nah. So after that, I was like, this is all I needed. Like, this is all I needed to hear. I'm not the villain in this whole thing. She is her own enemy of progress. And that's a general feeling I've had in but I couldn't put it into words, and I didn't have evidence for it. But then when this happened, I was like, actually, I was right about you. Yeah, so when all of that happened, I was like, thank you, Jesus, for vindicating me. Thank you for if that's the word. Like, I felt God's I don't know if that's the word for it, but it feels like it. Yeah, I won't go into detail about everything that happened in that whole week, but yeah, I went through the most. Even when my helper, the second one, left, I was just like, I'm not getting another helper. I don't want to go through that again. I don't want to have to deal with someone else's personality, with someone else's things, because even the second helper had her own things. Like, she would bring her child to work. Hey, but I was also like, as in, like, I was like, I guess I have to deal. But yeah, right. I'm gonna take as much as I can for as long as I can, because I don't have the heart to deal with anybody else right now. Like, I don't know. I don't have it in me. I don't have right. So as it stands, I do everything by myself. Sundays are generally the days when I do cleaning. I try and batch cook. I do ironing and all of that stuff. So far it's okay. but it's tiring. It's extremely tiring, but I would take that over dealing with somebody else's crap, right? So yeah, that's my story, guys. And yo, angazi nibathatha oh and nama help, alright. But even then, like for now, I'm still dealing with the trauma. I'm still healing. I'm still healing, and yeah. Yeah, if you watched until this far, thank you. Yeah, this is gonna take long to edit. I can already feel, because there were a lot of interruptions. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and please watch my vlog. If you're watching this video and you haven't watched my vlog, please go back and watch my vlog, and please like, comment, and subscribe, and share my videos, please. Thank you so much for 60 subscribers. It means the world to me. It means the world to me. So please subscribe. I really want to get to 100 subscribers by the end of July. I know that's such a stretch, but I know it's possible. Thanks so much for watching. Love you guys. Have a great week.